The Second Dalek War is drawing to a close, and the Earth Empire is trying to get a picture of just what has been happening on their colonies since they have been relying wholly on large corporations to run them. Just what exactly have they been doing to them? Arcadia is a backwater human colony that has been of no interest to the Office of External Operations until now. Ran by the Spinward Corporation, it has been heavily protected despite it being of little significance. Meanwhile, Bernice is getting frustrated at the continued degradation of the TARDIS, which seems to be falling apart in a state of chaos as the Doctor does scuddle, until a familiar face helps him reset the TARDIS and him, to an extent. As Agent DeFries of the External Operations seeks to uncover the truth while juggling a new wildcard recruit called Ace and a super weapon in the form of Absalom Dac, to what lengths will Spinward go to hide Arcadia from her and her team, and who really pulls the strings on Arcadia? Hello, and welcome back to Two Broad and Two Deep, the Doctor Who podcast where we go through the Doctor Who Virgin New adventures all the way through from Time Worm Genesis to the end of the dying days. I'm your host Anthony, and I'm joined as always by Alasdair.
Hello Anthony, how are we?
I am doing not bad at all. And returning after 3 books, clad in latex, and getting on board only after having sex and stealing the chip in some guy that he's found to try and get onto the podcast. No, it's not Ace. It's Joel Ford.
I did promise to come wearing a tight leather costume. Unfortunately, I failed. I'm so sorry.
Oh, what a shame. If only
I
the
refuse
listeners
to be
could see.
exploited as much as Sophie Aldred, alright?
Yes, I really do not know why she agreed to that. But,
Actually,
I think we do now. we may well do after our investigations about this range. So yes, today we are covering Deceit by Peter Darvill-Evans, who is also the editor of the range of these books. Now, this is my first time reading this book. I don't know, Alasdair, did you read this one at the time?
I tried to. It's not terrible, I just couldn't. It was just bland, and I was needing something more than bland to read, so I kind of gave up. I wanted to read it. It was billed as The Return of Ace. This was a big book. This was important. You should read this. Are you sure? Do I want to?
Yeah.
He's been so polite. Can you hear it?
It's very restrained.
He's a nice guy. Don't worry, I'm here as well.
Well, exactly. Joe, what is your history with Deceit?
Well, I check out my review, on Doc Oho Reviews. Sorry, little plug there. I gave this 5 out of 10. I don't know what I was thinking. Back in the day, though, I wasn't very discerning, and I'd just read any old and give it 5 out of 10. So yeah, the median average was my opinion back in the day. Now, I've read a lot of Doctor Who books in the last couple of years, and rarely have I read a book as worthy of literary accolades and the Booker Prize as Deceit. Just an absolute masterpiece from beginning to end, and I can't wait to get into it. No, I'm joking. What a dog turd. Oh boy. I mean, it is ghastly on every conceivable level, and more egregiously so because this is the editor putting this out as what the baseline of these books should be like. But we'll get there.
Yes, I dare say we will. This is my first time reading this, as usual for these books, but I guess I am probably not going to be as harsh as Joe in some bits. Not a lot, but some bits. Mm-hmm. Mainly because I had went through the pit in the past month, so having that experience will make any form of letters on a printed page look like a masterpiece in some ways.
Hold on, though. Do you think he put this book after the pit, right? Yeah. In knowing this was a bit of a turd, this book, just so, and he put the worst book of the entire range before it. So anything that you got the month after, you'd be like, well, I mean, it's not great, but it's better than the Pit.
I am fairly sure he commissioned the Pit for exactly that reason.
Good point. That.
It does have that feeling about it because, was it about the time that Love and War came out that he had already said, I think in DWM, Ace is coming back. We've got an idea. So he's been at least sitting on this perhaps for quite a bit, and it's just finding the best place to slot it in for his own reasons. But that worked for me because yes, going from the Pit to this, it is a step up. It's not a high step up. It's like a wee little step that you might trip on, but it's there.
It is though. Like, think of the books that you have covered lately. Yeah, Transit, The Pit. This is the most arid drought, I think, in Doctor Who literature. This out of the gate early period of New Event. I'm very pleased to tell both of you gentlemen you've got some serious bangers coming up. All right, and the drought ends, and suddenly the rains are coming down when Rebecca Levine joins the range. And actually, you've got some just around the corner as well. So that it's not going to be this much of a chore. But boy, oh boy, this for me it's the worst run of Doctor Who books, I think, by some margin.
Yeah, I mean, I got through Deceit sheerly because from my last experience with the Pit, I was like, I'm gonna go on holiday. I'll be in some lovely old pubs, and that will drive me through. And that's what did. I would just have a nice little pint that would get me through Deceit because I genuinely don't think I could get through it sober. It
Should we
did.
make Peter Darvill-Evans your sponsor then? When you try and get off on
Yeah. So long as he never writes, again, Doctor No, then that might be a helpful way to
I hate to
sponsor
tell
it.
you this, but he wrote 2 BBC books.
Oh God. Oh. I guess like when I'm saying that this is it's got some like things that I did find kind of laudable in some ways. It is not to say that this book in its entirety is actually worthwhile kind of getting into as a reader of any Doctor Who fiction if you haven't touched the Virgin New Adventures before. The Return of Ace. We might as well just kick in with that. I mean, we've got Ace 3 books later in this series after having, a spotted history with Benny. When we're talking about slotting where this book should be, is even this idea one that should have been slotted so early within this range?
If you're going to have Ace going for a significant amount of time, then make it a significant sodden amount of time, not 3 books. Especially 3 books where she's separated from the Doctor, acts out of character, and she deserved better before we got Ace back.
If you think this characterisation of Ace is as bad as it gets, well, good luck in your continuing voyage, all right? You got another 15 books of Space Bitch Ace yet, and boy, oh boy, she is a bitch.
I mean, well, this is the thing I'm actually going to slightly defend. I don't think Ace is as bad as people's rep of new Ace is in this book.
You've only got 1 book to gauge it on, though.
Yes. But I mean, within this book...
Come back to me at the end when she leaves.
I mean, she should have left because, like, for me, she was not the Ace that we had 3 books before and all the books before in that way. But, like, I think Peter Darvill-Evans, he said in an interview recently about trying to describe it, saying that the idea of Ace has been a hardened adult, while Benny was to be a more inexperienced academic, and that was meant to be the contrast with that. I do not think that works. In fact, to be honest, I think something like that version of what he thinks Ace is and what Benny is add the 2 together and you get River Song down the line, rather than just the Benny side.
Benny is a mature character, isn't she? And
yes.
Is the juvenile. Even 3 years later, she's still the juvenile. It's all bombs and bums and sex and all this shit,
Cyber dung, yeah. Yeah, but I still think in this book she is, yes, she's more confident in who she is. She's a hardened adult in some ways of, sleeping with guys to try and get into a spaceship. Being a bit abrasive, but deservedly so to the Doctor in this book. It makes sense for her to be this sort of confrontational because of what he says and such. The idea, however, is that it should be a contrast, like you say, to Benny being that experienced person, the more kind of actual adult person, and the Doctor turning around at the end of this book and saying, "No, you can't come back." Like, it feels like an awkward interaction with them at the end anyway, like as if she just should have shuffled away and been
That's the next
confronted
8 books, though, Anthony. Like, that awkward
Oh god.
relationship between Ace and Benny. There's books where she's outwardly threatening Benny. You know, there's books where Ace is literally blowing the brains out of dogs with her gun. Like, she's just a deeply she's an angry, angsty, unpleasant character that they only turn around just before she goes. And it's like at the 11th hour where you're just like, no, I just want you. Like Rebecca Levine, the editor, has a wonderful quote in the Who Adventures where she goes, yes, I came into this series of books and I could see this character knew Ace. I wanted shots of her. That's all the quote is. And that was like one of her first editorial decisions was get rid of her. She's ruining the books. And you're right, there's nothing too egregious here, although if you're suggesting in any way, shape or form that her relationship with Abbott and Dak is maturely handled in it.
Oh god, no.
We
Absolutely
need to
not.
talk about that. But like,
But she's been confrontational with that as well, like in a deservedly so way. It's everyone else around her that is acting, to be honest, in such an egregious way of thinking things that Absalom Dak does is acceptable, or even the one and later on with the Doctor, with the relationship of, oh, I actually meant to leave you in heaven all along, sort of idea. It's people who have been more abrasive around it at this point, and if she's going to then be the more abrasive one, oh god, I can't wait to read them. But for now, at least, it wasn't as bad as that hardened battle axe image that some people do give of her.
Yeah, but there was unnecessary stuff right at the start of it. I mean, as Joe was saying, she nicked that chip off the other auxiliary, lured him back to her quarters, slept with him, then when he was unconscious, did surgery on him. Given that she's been in the military, given that she's got experience, given that she blatantly knows how to mess people up, why did she feel the need to sleep with him rather than just knocking him the out? It's almost as if the author had some kind of agenda.
because Peter Darvill-Evans wrote this, that's why she
Yeah.
did that.
Yeah.
At least it was consensual. We should be happy about that.
Oh, God.
Although, can we please discuss, all right, because we're talking about Ace, yeah?
Yeah.
The absurd idea, yeah, that all the drama that took place the last time the three of us met in Love and War was all fake because the Doctor set up that whole situation to get her out into the universe. And none of it was real. It was all another grand master plan. And she seems quite all right with that. You know, oh, fine,
Yeah.
you killed my boyfriend. And it just goes back with him at the end. And I'm like, no, I mean, he hasn't learnt his lesson, has he? And it makes a total mockery of, frankly, a better book than this, Love and War. And it's doing the Curse of Fenric thing of the Doctor having like a master plan. He just gets it so wrong because it's almost like anti-drama. It's ruining the drama.
It's not even consistent with the drama he's setting up, because that whole scene of him saying, no, I actually meant to, leave you there, even when he was actually pleading with her at the end of Love and War to stay, it's not consistent with even what happens in the book.
Good actor, the Doctor. Please stay. Go.
If only there was some kind of role in this kind of range where somebody could look at all these facts and keep things consistent and make sure things don't get mixed up.
Yes. What's the role of that called?
Oh.
Is it Predator, Predator? Yeah. But, I mean, the issue is that he can't even do that in his own book, because before he's doing that of being, the Doctor's a mass manipulator, the Doctor has amnesia again and loses himself and is essentially factory resetting himself to be the nice, jollier, more open Doctor he's meant to be, and then immediately as soon as he meets Ace is like, actually no, I'm still being arch manipulator. It's like, why make the slate clean to then just add in the same tracks you had before?
The amnesia has two irritating effects in this book. One is that the Doctor has no clue what is going on for 275 pages of this 308-page book. Okay, so even on page 250, he is saying things like, I have absolutely no clue. Will someone please explain what's happening? I'm like, you're the Doctor. You're supposed to be doing this for us. Like, if you don't know what's going on, we haven't got a clue. But the other irritating thing was he's still spouting off continuity references left, right, and centre, even though he's got amnesia. So I'm like, you kind of want to have your cake and eat it. It's so bizarre. It's such a for the editor to take the Seventh Doctor and say, right, fine, factory settings, but it's not really fun, is it? I don't think he was that fun in this.
No.
And he's not engaging with the story. I mean, what story? We'll get there. Is there a narrative? I'm not sure. That's one for him to find. But they still want to wank off the classic series as well. So it just doesn't work.
No. And I think, to be honest, like, that's the big issue with this book, because so little kind of happens. You're expecting these character moments to help then make you feel something for what's happening throughout it. But instead, it's, you know, the idea of the Doctor having amnesia, then kind of getting it all back. But then I think, to be honest, I don't think he's got amnesia for the latter half. I think he's more so pretending he doesn't know so that they don't read his brain to think that he knows more than he does, I think. But it's unclear, which is the issue.
Another master plan then of his to have amnesia so that I couldn't read his
Yeah.
brain. He's got so many plans within plans, we just can't keep up anymore.
Actually reminded me of that bit in Friends. But they don't know that we know that they know that we don't know.
That's right.
Yeah.
I wonder if the grand Doctor plan was to get Peter Darvill-Evans to write this book, and the Doctor sort of sorted that out right from the start, you know?
Yeah, he was leaving little notes in the Butler Institute for him and like, go ahead and such.
Sure, you squeeze her into a leather costume, yeah, with a big gun. Thank you. I need her to have that gun for page 264, where she's shooting all the androids with apples and dac. Thank you very much.
Don't interfere with anyone on the space station because they're two lesbians, and I want more lesbian scenes, please. But actually, that's the issue as well. Is that when I was saying about the character moments that we do get, the character moments we do get are things like sadomasochist lesbians on the space station, and is that really something we ought to expect within a Doctor Who book? Maybe one by Peter Darvill-Evans, but
see, I could almost get behind the idea of having the two bad guys lesbians if there had been anything else to either of their personalities. I mean, all the reviews I read kept saying evil space lesbians. I thought, that's a bit redundant, but that's all we've got. Apart from the one that was there first was bald and had a big bulging head and things to... It's like... I'm even now trying to remember things about them, and all I can remember is that Britta had a boyfriend called Dimitri, but she forgot about him pretty bloody quickly. It's just... There was nothing else to them. That could be reduced down to one character, one single character. Even then, you could have lost her to Poole. You had Space Lesbian 1, Britta, and Poole. One character would have covered all of that, especially in a 300-page book. That was a lot of editing that could be done right there. But to do editing, you need to be... what's that word again?
Is it edit? Is it? I think...
Editor? I'm not sure, really. I mean, I'll say I started skim reading those evil lesbian scenes because I was like, when I realised a couple of scenes in that they were just as thin and as vacuous as they are, and the scenes were as unpleasantly lurid as they are, I was just like, yeah, you know, I'm not going to derive much pleasure from these scenes. So I sort of got the gist at the beginning and the end of the scene. So there could have been some amazing character work happening within those scenes, and I you just wouldn't know. But Alasdair, thank you very much for confirming that was not the case.
That's what I'm here for, Joe.
It's unfortunately, a lot of the same problem that then comes with all those other characters of having just a one note towards them. in that way. You know, is it Francis and Elaine
Yep.
from the planet Arcadia, who are just meant to be generic kind of medieval characters in this like astroturfed medieval planet, and they literally have nothing to do apart from being like surprised medieval peasant people to look agog at every single piece of space tech around them. Like, they genuinely do nothing throughout.
That's not true. Francis cried on several occasions for several reasons and moved me profoundly every single time.
Seriously?
Whether it was crying in anger, or crying in fear, or crying for sadness, or crying because his hot girlfriend wanted to have sex with him. I mean, the man was just deep as hell.
You must have sort of been there with him though, right? Crying. You was reading this book after all. Yeah. I had tears in my eyes quite a bit when I was reading this. And they all had this sort of cod medieval Shakespearean dialogue. Oh my word. I mean, if the dialogue between Ace and Albus and Dak wasn't as bad as it was, that would be the worst dialogue in this. But, you know, the cyber shit and Dalek dung or whatever it was, that was the worst dialogue of the book. But the medieval characters it was close.
I'm perfectly willing to accept that sometimes you have to substitute in made up words instead of swear words in future books. But if you're going to do that, don't include the original swear word in the alternative. Cyber shit is still swearing and works. Shit works just as well as cyber shit.
And also, if you're writing these medieval scenes, you are not William Shakespeare when you start sentences with things like atop the burnished towers, alright? Peter try harder. He suddenly starts writing like he's William Marlowe or something. It's very odd.
Yeah. Like, I mean, it's also, however, and we'll get perhaps onto his thematic interests down the line. Well, some would say thematic. When he's trying to do those scenes as well, he makes them quite just overly sexual as well. You know, when they first...
Listen to the prose, listen to this. Pennants hung limply above the conical roofs. I mean, Peter Darvill-Evans. I mean, can we just address the elephant in this room? And it ain't the sex, but I know we'll get there. It's just, this is a dismally written book. The prose in this book is so bad, from the dialogue to the characterization, right, to the descriptive prose, to the plot. Like this, I've said before, right? Editors don't have to be good writers unless they're writing a book. And Darvill-Evans is not a good writer of books. He might be a fantastic editor, although, let's be honest, you've just done the pit. So maybe that's in question as well. But fuck me, this is so badly written. Is it me? Am I the only one who thinks this?
Pedestrian as hell.
Yeah.
It's...
I don't think it's as bad because we have just went through the pit where we were having really...
Excuses wearing thing, Anthony.
But well, this is the thing. I agree. Like, characterization in particular is dire. There are some scenes, and I think this is what Peter Darvill-Evans likes most, is world building or world painting sort of stuff. He spends most of the book doing that. Really. So when things like when Britta is, you know, going to see Lacuna for the first time in the spaceship in the space station. And the descriptions of these got like of these fleshy pads that she has to touch to try and get through the door, not in the ways that we see them described later and such, but it's more from that body horror side that we do get in some descriptions of, say, the space station in particular, that I do think work, but you cannot write a whole book on some descriptions of the same location over and over.
Can I offer you an alternative reading then? Thanks. Because
Please
this
do.
is the opening passage of this book. And I read this, and then I went, oh, I'm in trouble. And then I looked at like how many, I was like, Alasdair, I was reading it off my phone. How many pages is this? 308. Oh, fucking hell. I'm going to need some treats to get through this. A small starship flits through warp space. One of its networked Pico processors carries the mail. Its ROM store contains a stack of silvery needles embedded in non-conductive plastic. Each needle is rectangular in cross-section. This can be just discerned by the eye with the aid of a microscope. It could be seen to resemble a Swiss roll, a structured filament of organic molecules sandwiched between equally thin layers of inorganic material, folded and refolded. The needle has been electronically configured into blocks. There are 8,000 blocks along the length of one needle. Each block consists of enough data recording medium to store the information contained in a set of encyclopedias. The entire contents of the Library of Alexandria would occupy only a couple of needles. There are 300 needles in the ROM store. All the needles are nearly empty. I was like, what the fuck does all that mean? What does that even mean? And if he gave one character that much detail in this book, I would be so happy. What is he even talking about?
See, I don't know what your problem is there, Joe. I'm quite turned on by that.
Okay, let's watch Star Trek together then. There's loads of technobabbles.
No, you're right. That was... I mean, bear in mind that I work in a school and I deal with science textbooks. I've read very few that are that dull and unengaging, and I read it several times and I still don't know what the hell I was meant to be learning, other than he did not keep up with technology.
We might have been better off with the technobabble when I got to lines like, he needed another triple Z. On his other side, he could see just over the rim of the second can was a more attractive prospect than Trag. Yeah, that's the character's name, Trag. The trooper was awake, female, and quite a looker. Yesty was a sucker for dolls with big brown eyes. I was like, oh, it's a 10-year-old writing this, for fuck's sake.
Well, yeah, I mean, the tone is the issues for him, but sometimes I think Peter Darvill-Evans' main interests are of the flesh and of the body.
Yes.
And so when it comes to things like body horror, I do think he does that well. You know, there's a scene where one of the characters is trying to get through a hole that's been kind of filled back up automatically and is caught within it, and you feel that tension within that. When Britta is going to meet Lacuna, there's a scene of him describing it like a cathedral, her walking into the room, describing it, saying that she was cold but her hands were clammy with sweat. There was a fear of a sort that she had not experienced in her remembered lifetime. This was an eons old fear, and talking about, you know, her experiences, but then mixing that in with, you know, primordial feelings, and he can do that sort of horror, but that's, you can't sustain a whole
book. If you're going to attempt that sort of sophisticated psychological angle, then you don't sort of mix it in with lines like, we're going to grill the Daleks, we'll fricassee the Daleks, we'll roast them, we'll bake them, we'll boil them in the bag, says a character called Stronty Lopeg. You know, like,
yeah, I mean, well, that line felt like it was, well, you know, probably Lord of the Rings maybe nicked that for the boil them, mash them, sticking them in a stew. But yeah, there are some the clangers in it, the dialogue in particular.
It was Chekhov's Dalek. You can't keep mentioning the Daleks in Act 1 and they never show us a sodden Dalek.
Yeah.
The trouble is, they got their knuckles wrapped. They got their knuckles wrapped because they weren't allowed to mention the Daleks at all, but they really wanted to put mentions in. And you'll see as you go through the range, they get more sophisticated at sort of implying the Daleks without actually saying the name. The absolute dearth of incident in this book. Like, it is about 30 pages longer than your average Doctor Who book, yeah? So you'd think it would be an epic that's full of incident, yeah? But, like, I read at least 5 scenes of Bernice Summerfield walking around the TARDIS, talking to nobody but herself, because there's no one else there, jumping between third and first person for whatever reason I don't know. That was an odd stylistic choice. And I was like, can we just get to this bloody planet Arcadia already and just start this story? It's like a Colin Baker story, where they don't get to the planet until the end of episode 1. Except here, we don't get to the planet until the end. Well, about 2/3 through episode 2.
Even once we get to the planet, nothing exciting happens until we leave the planet for the space station. We should have just gone straight for the sodden space station.
Exactly. It spent so long, of that exact problem of having people walk around the TARDIS, then they're walking around Arcadia, to get to a space ship, to then go to a space station and walk, and then literally the people who have got there early sit around and watch a monitor to watch the people arrive, walking around that space station to arrive in their room. Even at, I think it's 228, where the Doctor says, "I'm not here to watch television," and then he just proceeds to watch television of Ace trying to get to the room that they're in. There is such a lack of events, such a lack of, Lord of the Rings does a similar thing of walking to somewhere, but there's plenty of incident that takes place throughout that.
On page 270, he says, "I can't start drawing conclusions until I'm given some data." 270? I mean, that means he just hasn't been engaged with anybody or anything at that point, because he hasn't really picked up any information to allow him to start drawing conclusions. It's such a weird approach to writing a book.
And he made even worse by the fact that he goes on at length about how after he tackled the Butler Institute, he had a deep probe sensing, checked time, checked within several thousand light years, and detected nothing. This is the same man that can't tell what's going on 2 foot in front of him.
And yet he's pre-planned everything.
And even then, it did feel like a retcon of Warhead. So Warhead? Warhead. Where it's like, so this is what really happened. No, it didn't need redefined. Can you please stop redefining books? That's the job of... who's the guy that oversees a range?
It's not a distributor. It's not a freelancer. It's I think there's a Doctor Who villain named one.
A Simon Pegg's character, yes.
Eric Saywood? No. Oh no, he was a script editor, wasn't he? That's right. Yeah.
Now,
a script what?
Editor, is it?
Oh.
Editor of books. Yeah. I mean, you said that Warhead was retconned, yeah? And I said that Love and War was retconned. Well, boys, I've got some joy for you. This book is going to be retconned in the future, so nothing in these books means anything at all.
I'm okay with retcons. I wouldn't be enjoying Strange New Worlds if I wasn't okay with retcons. But you need to have some kind of collection to actually start retconning. We're how many books in at this point?
Yeah, 13.
Yeah, that's too soon for a retcon.
This is maybe the crux of the issue that I have with this book, because it might well be laudable for an editor of the range to be trying out their template, trying to produce something from what the rules they set out to be for that range. But the issue is then that is not used as an experiment, as a way to explore it. It's used as a template because he's wanting this to be a tying up the loose ends, tying up things and setting things going forward. You can't be both. You can't try to be an experiment of how your rules work, but also set the rules through this book at the same time, and that's what this tries to do through a lot of the kind of corporate institute work.
I don't want to be that person on the call, but can I contradict you again? Because I've just read Time Zero by Justin Richards, who is the editor of BBC books during a much superior period of books. And in that book, he writes an experimental Doctor Who book, which is called Time Zero, and it's chapters counting down to 0. It starts at 52, and so there's immediate suspense because the whole book is counting down to whatever is going to be at Time Zero at the end of the book, right? But in the same breath, it's taking all of the plot points that have been going for about 20 books, tying them all up, and then it kicks the whole series into the next arc of books. But it literally takes all of the regulars, the Dr. Fitz and Angie, to culminations of their character, them accepting their relationships together. They think they're going their separate ways. They come together at the end of the book. They acknowledge how they feel about each other. And then along the way in the book, you have fucking awesome ideas like a walking black hole. A man who is a walking black hole, literally sucking people into his head and things like that. And Angie Kapoor on a plane going through mountains. Unfortunately, there's no one at the controls. It's about to smash into the mountain. And just amazing incident. And that is how an editor, right, says to everybody else, this is how you do it, all right? A robust plot, great character work, full of incident, experimental. That's not what's happening here.
But the difference being is that he's remembered as a writer out with her being an editor. Darvill-Evans is not really remembered as an author out with her being an editor.
Well, I mean, yeah. Do you know what? Let's dive into it. Let's dive into Peter Darvill-Evans since we're here.
Would you like the Murder, She Wrote theme tune? Because you've done it with him.
I'll add that or tag it or something in to be everyone's gathered into the drawing room to hear the revelations. This is Peter Darvill-Evans' first Doctor Who fiction. His first fiction took place 2 years prior, and that was a book called 1 Week in the Private House, and that was by Esme Umbro, who is Peter Darvill-Evans. He's said as much as that he has wrote this book and such. It's a bit of a sexy book. I won't read passages from that because it's got as much good dialogue as Deceit did. But the interesting thing
deliberately sexy, right? That's an erotic book.
It is meant to be deliberately sexy, because it is meant to be one of these erotica novels.
Levy was quite aroused when writing it, I hear.
Well, this is the thing. We were talking earlier about how this book has lesbian sadomasochism, Dak sexually assaulting Ace. You know, we have to break up front about what's been happening in this book as well with Dak. Dak is a character that is absolutely atrociously portrayed as a blatant, sexual assaulter, but near the end is like attempted to be seen as he was good in the end. Like, no, he's not.
Ace literally acknowledges, he wasn't that bad. And she's starting to get into it. And I'm like, no. He had his hand between your legs at one point in this book without consent. What is wrong with you?
Exactly.
So did you not read the tone of that? That was playful and jaunty touching up.
Oh, I see. To quote the toy maker, well, that's all right then.
No, literally. I mean, twice he does that, as he grips onto Ace and ways in 229 as well, and it's genuinely like throughout it as well. Characters like DeFries just play it off as that's our Dak throughout the book, and it's really disturbing.
That's
but
the tone of these books, though. That is the tone of these books at the moment. That sort of juvenile, testosterone-fueled sexism.
Yeah. But this idea of, having sexual content within these books, a lot of folk do derive it from, it's just 20-something horny dweebs who writing for Doctor Who or whatever. But underlining this, I do think with, Peter Darvill-Evans' history, with, this book, he launches the Black Lace range, which gets the Stranger commissioned into that range.
Absolute classic. I did a book club on that, The Eighth Doctor had so much sex in that book. I'm surprised he had energy left to have adventures in time and space, if I'm honest.
But, that's where one of Peter Darvill-Evans' predilections lies. And I wanted to read some of the author's note, because similar to Deceit has quite an insightful author's note at the end, describing his ideas of the range, wanting to move forward. It's quite laudable about doing that, and such. But he also has one at the end of 1 Week in the Private House, and I think it's maybe a bit intuitive as well to what he as a writer is like, but also, yeah, I'll just read a bit and see how you think. In 1990, I was commissioned to write an erotic novel by the editor, who had just taken over the administration of the Nexus imprint. I know he won't mind me saying that in those days he was inexperienced in both publishing and erotica. Nonetheless, he had a clear vision of the new direction in which he wanted to take Nexus, a direction that entailed a higher standard of writing in the stories, a distinctive and distinguished cover style, and a slant towards the more underground byways of sexuality. One of the innovations he introduced immediately was to draw up a set of guidelines for prospective Nexus authors. He chose me to write the novel that would exemplify these guidelines. I felt honoured to be asked and very excited by this challenge. I was determined to pull out everything required by the Nexus guidelines to describe every sort of sexual activity that I find in the least bit titillating, and to go to the very boundaries of what the guidelines permitted. Does it sound familiar?
Yes. I mean, there's more. There is more to that afterward, and maybe don't read all of that out.
Oh, yes, I won't be reading all of it at all.
The one that's like illegal, non-consensual, and all sorts. It's kind of icky reading. And like there's a reading of it where you could say, do you know what? He's just basically saying people with what you might have considered undesirable sexual urges shouldn't be kink shamed. But there's another reading of it where you could go, well, yeah, this person should not be the editor of Doctor Who books. Not because he has kinks, but because some of those kinks manifest in the books. And I would like to read a few bits of Deceit out to you.
Yes.
And I don't think these belong in a Doctor Who book. And I think that the torture porn that you will see going ahead of Ace and Bernice, and just wait until you see what they go through non-consensually. I question whether this is the approach for Doctor Who and this is the person to be editing the books. That's enough peeking, she says. No point in getting you all worked up when we're this far apart. The image of Troynharm crossed her legs. Actually, I wasn't quite sure what that meant. She's sort of lopsided, but she looks fit. She looks good. She looks tough. And black suits her. No side gun, though. Get into the bathroom, Lacuna said. I'm going to make you suffer beautifully. He succeeded only in jamming his right hand between her thighs and giving her a broad grin before he collapsed again. That's disgusting. Don't worry, Bernice said. I'm coming, all right? Actually, I think she was just coming there, but he had his arms around her now. Ace felt very small, perched on the muscular thighs of his bear-hugging, hairy giant. Gross. And this, of course, that's the tune to My Dalek Lover is a Sex Machine. Which, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck?
What? Yeah. All of this, why? Why would this be something
People
you
will tell you this is groundbreaking, this is innovation for Doctor Who, going into these very mature areas. It's as innovating and mature as Torchwood Series 1 was.
Yep.
It's agonisingly terrible, uncomfortable, and icky. And they just never should have gone there with any of this.
Mm-hmm.
And he's setting the standard. He's the editor. And he puts at the end, this is the standard, all right? This or higher. So he's basically saying, fine, you can have men grab women between their legs in your Doctor Who books, and that's all right. And she won't mind. Like, what the hell? What are we doing?
Exactly. It's a bleeding of... so when I was reading those, essentially, the author's note through the setting of those guidelines in the other book on how to, broach the boundaries, that idea is what bleeds into then the guidelines, I think, of Deceit, and at least is what, from those examples you read, has bled through in his writing and what he then thinks is the standard. It absolutely should not be the standard, and that's the frustrating
what this range
thing.
Needed? It needs a woman in charge, yeah? Who's going to temper all of this sexual frustration and testosterone. And fuck me, Rebecca Levine is just around the corner. Thank goodness. Because if she didn't come along, where would this range have ended up? I dread to think. You wouldn't have needed Black Lace. It just would have been Doctor Who.
Yeah, exactly. Like the bleeding of those ideas, the idea that it's somehow mature. We've discussed before, I think, about how it was a teenage idea of maturity, somehow from people who are adults, but is providing an idea of what a teenager think is adult in some ways.
Would this turn you fellas on, age 14? Would this stuff turn you on when you were 14?
No,
be honest.
Genuinely, I don't think it would turn anyone. Or turn anyone away. I think from reading it, but like, what is the aim?
You're turned on your own podcast.
but what is the what is the aim? Because it's not to turn people on, surely. In reading these books, really.
Well, why else do it? Why else put in sexual content? That's the purpose of it.
Or purely for his own gratification. And I dread to think how he was writing this.
That's even worse, Alasdair. I don't want to think of him typing one-handed. Yeah. Oh, God.
No, yeah, with a jammed typewriter.
How did we end up here? Oh, yeah, we read Deceit. That's why we ended up here.
We're talking of Murder, She Wrote. I don't want to see him recreating the Murder, She Wrote intro with her.
It was
oh God!
Let's tell you what, we could summarise it as it's very problematic.
If it's an intentional idea of having sexual content to arouse, why on earth is Doctor Who the platform to attempt to do that? It should not be.
Too broad and too deep.
Well.
You're the ones waving the flag.
We're trying our best to wave it, and yet they don't deliver sometimes in the ways that they ought to.
I'll tell you what, right? I'll tell you what. Next month, if the two of you aren't saying, "Wow, what an amazing book," I'll be very surprised. Okay, you will have every reason to.
I have faith in Andy Lane.
Yeah. Oh boy, yes. Yeah.
It's something that I am hopeful. Like, as such as with adolescence, and this is literally these books are in its teens in numbers. It's growing through. It will hopefully evolve past those standards that it set itself, essentially almost debasing the range from this book in terms of what's acceptable, and hopefully evolves. And like you say, we've got people like, I think Rebecca Levine doesn't come into like book 30, unfortunately. So we've got
Parasite's the first one that she commissions.
Yeah,
and that's torture porn as well, unfortunately. But she was feeling her way in at that point, you know. Oh God.
Yeah, but that's at least, things to look forward to. It evolves. We are in the dregs of its worst aspects of adolescence when we're talking about an adolescent's ideas of adulthood. This is it somehow personified rather horrifically through its editor at the time.
It's so funny though. Like, obviously, I told you before we started, I've listened to your run through twice. It's such a fabulous podcast. I don't need to tell people to go and listen to it. Yeah, listen to it right now. But it's so funny that in Genesis, Alasdair, you were like, oh, it's very strange, Ace naked in her bedroom. Well, maybe that's as bad as it'll get. And then you got to Transit, and the woman's eating the cola nuts to get rid of the taste of semen in her mouth, and one of you, oh, maybe that's as bad as it gets. And then you get to this, where Ace is being groped on the bridge of Starship. I'm hoping this is as bad as it gets. I'm not sure it is, but I'm hoping.
Aren't we all? Yeah. It's in its adolescence. I do hope it evolves out its way. But the ideas, just on the book itself, the ideas of like world building is something that I think in broad strokes Darvill-Evans can do. The things about corporations taking over planets in the absence of a Earth Empire, for example, and stuff like that. There's broad strokes of good ideas, but this is the issue. It's a lot of there's a lot of broad strokes taking place in this book and in its writing, and from its writer.
Hold on, so that stuff about corporations taking over, was that what was in the appendix?
I
only asked because I didn't actually finish it. I tried 4 times to read the appendix and just...
No, well, that was the kind of premise with, the planet managing Arcadia in the absence of any sort of democratic government and administration from Earth colony folk and all this.
Okay, so I obviously missed that and all the...
That was the kind of idea, I think. But again, like, this is the thing, it doesn't... There's the broad strokes of good world building, but it doesn't...
Well,
you get a lot of information about, and a good story threaded through in to explore the mechanics of that world.
There was one wee moment where I thought, oh, that's quite a nice wee bit of world building. The Doctor's going, look, that bit there is a lot newer than this bit here. This hasn't been around for very long. You're suddenly thinking, oh, have we got a Doctor's daughter type scenario here? Is this recently developed? Is this why they don't age past 30? Have they only been here for like a century or so? And then he does nothing with it.
The way you explore world building is through engaging characters and their reactions to it. But there are no engaging characters here. So he drops the ideas as exposition, and you're right, they're good ideas. I mean, even the cover image of the asteroids with the faces, that's an amazing idea. The idea of Arcadia and Paul, it's an interesting idea. But, it's not revolutionary to say that you should explore that through human drama, instead of just telling us this great idea.
Exactly.
Terraforming going wrong, we've done that before. We got search for Spock out of that. It's a fertile ground, if you'll pardon the pun.
Did you cry when the Enterprise crashed?
I don't know what you're talking about. You're talking to a guy that's got the runes from Spock's burial robes on his arm.
Oh my god.
Damn straight,
I don't think even I've been more turned on than this in a podcast, Looking at that.
Yeah, it's a better turn on than anything in Deceit.
Yeah, for sure. Evil lesbians, don't do it for me. Star Trek tattoos, bring it on.
Exactly. But no, I mean, you're right with like these ideas. They are just good ones there. I mean, even the idea of Lacuna being that sensory organ for the corporations. I was kind of imagining her like the controller within Bad Wolf, where she's got that head, she's got cables, such like that, and you can try to explore those different personas fighting amongst each other, and the Doctor setting one, if he's meant to be a master manipulator, setting them against each other within her head, within her externalizing that, things like that. We
You're
just
talking
have
about Time of the Rani, aren't you? With the brain, where he made all the voices squabble with each other. This is
literally
double entendres. It's literally that.
I would prefer Time in the Rani to be the plot for this.
Blessed are the pie masters, because they will make life pastry. Yeah. Fabulous. There's some of that in this. But what do we know about Lacuna? Nothing at all. Why did we care about her? I don't know. Why?
No.
But the most interesting thing she did was kill the guy right at the start, and I forgot she did that. I had to go back and read that bit again to say, was that her?
Yeah.
The less we say about the bloody ending as well, where via Bernice Summerfield, Paul is somehow inside the TARDIS matrix banks or something, and then diverted into a room that's then jettisoned or something, and I'm like, what does any of this mean about anything? Who is this impacting? Where is the emotional resonance? Like, what is this?
Not just that.
Exactly.
We have seen an alien digital intelligence pulled into the TARDIS before and ejected into the vortex, and it's like, we did this back in the first Sodden book.
Exactly. The time worm was on my mind as well when seeing those pages go through. Like,
it's like,
you're trying
so
hard, Anthony, to dredge up something positive about this book. I mean, it's a meteoric attempt on your part.
I am giving it. Yes, there's things that I'm trying my best with, but it really doesn't help itself for the majority of this book. It's trying
Let's
to give.
just say for 306 pages of the 308 page length, it doesn't help itself.
No. Yes, the length certainly doesn't help itself as well. On top of
Oh, I
other
just
things.
meant that there's put about 2 pages that are any good. That's all I meant.
Oh, true. But even trying to, when we're talking earlier about the length of this book, what the lack of things that happen in this book as well. Peter Darvill-Evans was describing this book, and not just his book, but his kind of approach towards how he does how these books should could kind of go. So Peter Darvill-Evans just went, you don't need to know much of the middle, it's where you end with a book. And I'm like, well, you do, because otherwise you're bored and you're not going to continue to the end. And with something with the first book breaching the 300 page mark, you really do need something to help you get through that middle. And a lot of the middle's just walking around.
I am that person, right? Yeah, that if you are going to make me watch like a 3-hour film, you have to fucking justify that length. Because an hour and a half is my retention period, Anything longer than that, and it's got to be... And with a book, 250 pages, fine, I can get my head around. You're going to stretch me to 300, forgive me for saying stretch me, then you need a lot of plot, or a lot of ideas, or really great characters. And there's just none of that here.
It's also slightly unforgivable that, as we discussed last time, the pit was cut down. You have to be this length, you can't go past this, and it was butchered as a result.
Yeah.
Where was that rationale for this book?
He's the editor.
Joe says there's no reason for it being over 300 pages. None. You could quite easily have just given us the last 50 and just said, the Doctor landed on the planet, shit happened, now we continue with our adventure.
Yeah.
There's a great story about Andrew Cartmel, right? When he wrote that speech at the end of Battlefield, a child looks up to the sky, his eyes turn to cinders, all that nonsense. And it was like 4 times, it was about 5 pages long. He's like, oh, this is all gold, all about the evils of nuclear war. And then Ben Aronovich read it and he went, oh man, McCoy's going to be talking for like 10 minutes. Like, you need to cut that. No, it's all going in. Anyway, they filmed a lot of it and then they watched it and they're like, he's like, cut it. Just cut it down to like 30 seconds. And that's what Darvill-Evans needed here, was another editor, a guest editor. I don't know if there was a guest editor. I know when Justin Richards writes for the 8th Doctor books, Steve Cole edits him because he was the editor before him. So they bring in someone who's already used to editing books that he has a relationship with. But it feels like Darvill-Evans just went, no, it's all gold. It's all going in.
Well, that's the thing, I think, because I think he has said that he didn't have an editor for this book. I don't know how true that is, because I do think Rebecca Levine was, like, say, one of those kind of assistant editors at the time within Virgin Publishing, and I think there's words that she might have looked at it to be able to make sure it's not just a one-man band going through with absolutely no checks and balances to the whims and ways of him. But she probably would not want to upset her boss, who is going to then be asking her to...
She's quite mousy looking. Man, she had a roar of a lion, though. I've seen her on stage. Oh, you don't want to get in her way. She'd have gone, Darvill-Evans, this is a load of shit. I'm not putting this on the shelves, for God's sakes. Terrifying she was.
Oh. Well, I cannot wait to get to her edited range then, because that is the spirit that we need.
Like, I'm not joking when I say the second half of the New Adventures, it is leagues ahead of what you've done so far. You've got brilliant books to come. Like, don't give up hope reading shit like Deceit, okay?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, one thing, because everyone, regardless of the book itself in terms of what this plot is, what the lack of stuff that happens in it is, a lot of people discuss the author's note, and we discussed the different author's note that he's wrote, but what did we think about his ideas that he set out within the author's note at the end of this book about the range and what it should achieve and some of the boundaries that he set about it, because, you know, he discusses, I think, about the ideas of this kind of not too far-flung future, but setting the parameters of this galaxy and having things predominantly within there. I almost could see parallels with, you know, with, say, RTD's first season of predominantly Earth stories, bit far-flung future, far in the past, but still within the remits of Earth. I don't know if that's what he's trying to do, is essentially set some sort of plan like that and then allow experimentation or not, but yeah. How did you just find that author's note as an insight to this all?
I couldn't quite believe it was the same person that had written the book I just read. It was insightful, it was thoughtful, it was, here's why the Doctor can interact with Earth, because it's in his future. He can't fuck with his past, but he can mess with our future. It's like, okay, that actually makes sense. That's a really nice idea. It was almost infuriating. Not almost, it was infuriating. It's like, you do get this, you do understand this, you do get the premise. Where was that in the 300 pages I read before I got to this point?
Yeah.
It's a great instinct, and I'm not going to say that about much in this book, but that is a great instinct, because by the time you get to the end of the New Adventures, you will find the best future history, the most detailed future history. And when they bring in Chris and Roz and the period that they're from, and they flesh out sort of 200 years in the future in a really detailed, really interesting way. They just have to jettison all of this juvenilia first. But by the end, yeah, it's a great instinct. But you're right, Alasdair, he ain't doing it here. Live by your own words, Darvill-Evans.
Yes. He's at least setting out a good stall, I think, in that way. If only that came into practice when he was actually doing this, that would have been another aspect. But yeah,
can we very quickly talk about Abelson Dark, please?
Oh God, I forgot about this bloody character.
Oh my God! From Nemesis of the Daleks, that great classic Sylvester McCoy comic strip from DWM. I mean, the joyful dialogue that he got. I mean, listen to this. Trussed up tight as a smacked smuggler's arse, he says at one point. Slugged, yelled Ace. You trying to get me killed? Fairy footsteps from now on, okay? Whatever you say, girly, he says. Oh, and this is my favourite. Ungrateful bitches, Dak said, still grinning. You could have plugged him that good. I mean, for God's sake. I was reading it going, I'm literally jettisoning brain cells reading this dialogue.
Well, I mean, think about his description as well, because this is description from 106. His scarred and muscular torso was hardly covered by his torn, ill-fitting singlet.
Oh, is it hot in here?
His trousers were equally distressed and figure-hugging.
Who said that Darvill-Evans can't write erotica?
Well, I think everyone, but he, you know, this build as well. It felt like, I don't know, like Space Borat with this like ill-fitting singlet. It just is not exactly what you want to be imagining this image to be. Wasn't quite the
chainsaw. He's literally going around with a chainsaw decapitating people. For fuck's sake.
But it's not even him. I forgot to say, it's not even him. It's a clone. So, you know, like the impact that maybe fans, if there are fans of this character, they're like, oh well, it's just a knockoff. Oh, Alasdair, your hand up.
I like Absalom Dak. I loved him in the comics, but then I'm a Moore fan in the first place, so it's like, but he's not a complex character. He is not one that stands up for much psychoanalysis. He is violence personified. He is blood and guts. He is, I'm going to kill every Dalek. That is all there is to his personality.
But was he a sexual predator?
No, he wasn't sexually assaulting people in DWM. No, he was not.
No.
Good.
Only the New Adventures.
Yeah, only the clone. Only the clone was a sexual deviant. The actual Dak, He was fine, just a murdering psychopath.
Cyber shit and Dalek dung, he shouts at one point.
It's
Just, it's almost literate, isn't it? You know, I'll put that on the shelves next to Bleak House, you know, or Wuthering Heights, something like that.
He's got a Byronian qualities to him, does Absalom Dack.
I do have a theory about him, though, if you'll indulge me. I think what Darvill-Evans is trying to do, and failing miserably, is have a King Yrcanos style character, right? This big, bold, violent, angry man, you know, who the Doctor's companion sort of falls for throughout the story and develops affection for, despite the fact that she thinks he's a bit of a kid and a bit of a joke. And I think in Mind Warp that works brilliantly, because you've got Nicola Bryant and Brian Blessed in there having the best time. And it actually ultimately becomes quite touching. But unfortunately, Absalom Dack isn't witty in this. And there are no touching moments with his character. And he's not played by Brian Blessed. So unfortunately, all you've got is like the worst aspects of King Yrcanos without any of the good stuff. And I think it could be made to work. You could tell a story where Ace falls for Dack throughout this and gets used to his sort of ridiculous 13-year-old ways of going around with his chainsaw but you know, the second he shoved his hand between her legs, it's game over.
Yep.
Dack was created by Steve Moore and Steve Dillon, and these are they can do sophisticated storytelling. They can do violence, gore, but still tell a good story, still have good character development. These guys know what they're doing. Darvill-Evans did not. He didn't get the whole essence of the character, and he became almost a parody of himself. The idea of him grabbing the grenade and hightailing it up over the line, going to detonate the bomb and kill all the brains, but only to turn back when Ace says she loves him.
I suppose he's got the excuse, though, because it is a copy, so it doesn't have to be quite like the original, because, you know, he's another version. But that's just me giving him a cop-out for not getting it right.
But also, why did he have to be a clone? This is a premise that has time travel within it. We are used to Doctor Who media finding gaps in people's histories and just exploiting that. This could have been Dack at any other point in his history. And then make some kind of comment about how he's off to visit a Dalek wheel after this, or how he's just saved a princess, or just... There was 1,001 ways other than a clone. And then his death. What an absolute shit show of a death. I had to read that twice before I worked out he was actually dead and how it happened.
Yeah. I still don't actually know how he died. Was it just
I don't either. Will you tell us?
Was it like one of those whistling darts from like Guardians of the Galaxy that kind of shot round and hit him, I think?
I've totally forgotten.
Ace accidentally decapitated him in the throes of torture.
That's how I'd want to go, Alasdair.
Oh.
Well, I suspect somebody we've been referencing might have enjoyed that quite a bit.
Well, yes. Yeah. Was it a non-consensual decapitation? Sorry. You know, I think I could sum up this book, you know, really, really well. Just with one bit, yeah. Come page 200, yeah. Darvill-Evans was so desperate for incident, we spend a whole page divvying out cheese rations. I'm not joking you. There's a whole page where Bernice goes, some cheese for you, some cheese for you. Oh, did you not get any? There's something for you. I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah.
I
forgot
about that.
Exactly. There's so many things like that. With the loss of any characterization, there's just moments like that you get instead. Although ironically, actually, I think Absalom Dack should have been the most one-dimensional character if judging by the descriptions of the comic and stuff. He should just be big chainsaw man, goes girl, and that is it, rather than adding this sexual element to him as well. And yet somehow
here's your chance to give him some nuance.
Yeah.
A 300-page book. You got plenty of chance to give him some nuance.
I guess, but to be honest, on the pecking order of giving him any nuance, I would give a lot of other characters time to do that and before him, so that you've got at least some kind of contrast of he's just simple character, while actual characterization happens for your new folk, for your actual doctor, your actual companions that are just not getting that. But yeah.
And just while we're on Doctor's companions, can we take a second for Bernice, when confronted with murderous androids who wants to take Elaine away from her, went, "It's okay, go with them, they won't hurt you, they'll bring me along in a second." So, what? What?
You remember when I said that Bernice was writer-proof? Yeah, I'll retract that statement, alright?
Yeah.
Well, she was. She had something at least to her in this book. She wasn't possessed, and that's a low bar. But I'm glad we have that.
Anthony's low bar is, it's not the pit and she wasn't possessed.
10 out of 10, gold star from me, Peter Darvill-Evans, for that.
Oh, I mean, I can say something positive about Deceit if you'd like me to.
Please do.
We don't have to think about it again now we've talked about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
And you got
Well-
Anime coming up next month as well. Oh, boy.
Yeah.
I hope
So,
I'm not giving you false expectations, Anthony. But,
I mean, you've heard how vaguely positive I've been about some bits of Deceit compared to yours, and that's because of how I've experienced the pit. So, going from Deceit
Colony in
to...
Space, don't you? Do you like Colony in Space?
I don't, actually, no.
Oh, well, maybe you won't like Lucifer Rising then. Plenty of IMC in that, unfortunately.
Oh, God. Oh. Well, do you know what? I'll rewatch and I might reconsider that opinion. I mean, I rewatched Carnival of Monsters for the first time since I was like 15 and actually liked it for once this time. So things can change for me. So
Can I make can I get on my hands and knees in front of both of you now? I mean, I'm happy to actually do it. Yeah, yeah. If you're ever happy to have me back, please, can I do a book I can be kind about? Because all I've done is come on this and be really mean about the new adventure. Whereas, if you haven't got anyone for Conundrum yet, I'm there. All right.
you're booked in.
Oh,
I'll
yes,
Seconded.
Gentlemen, let's go to the land of fiction. Woo!
Conundrum also is one of the few I have read down the line, and I was delighted with it as a teenager.
Thank
So,
God for
Joyful.
Joyful.
Sorry to start talking about Conundrum already, but do you remember the bit where Ace is attacked and they're like, what's the worst thing they could possibly attack her with? And it's a load of new adventures. I thought that was the best joke in the whole book. No, please, anything but Deceit, please.
Genius.
Yeah. Cannot wait. So, overall, I have a feeling that we might not be recommending this book.
Well, we might not be. We don't know about you.
I'm not. I'm just trying to glaze some vague little gold stars to give to Peter Darvill-Evans after what we experienced last time with the pit. But it's not to say he's getting the whole bouquet at the end of this. Yeah.
I wouldn't give him a wilted daisy after reading this, let alone a bouquet.
Well, enough about Peter Darvill-Evans' wilted daisy. Alasdair, what did you think of this?
It wasn't terrible. It was boring and forgettable, and that's. We haven't even touched on the mass collection of brains that just defied any scientific rationale whatsoever. No. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't the pit. I never felt the need to throw my tablet across the room, but now, beauty of reading my tablet says it remembers where you are. There's no having to leaf through to see if you've gone to the right bit or not. And several times I still thought, I'm sure I've read this already. And it's because the same shit kept happening again and again and again. So, yeah, pedestrian, boring, repeated, and just no.
Joe, I'm going to ask your summing up thoughts of what you thought of Deceit, and any parting wisdom to Peter Darvill-Evans as part of that.
Very brave of you, actually, to ask me that. Yeah, so I think this is exactly what 20-somethings think that horny mid-teenagers, straight science fiction fans want in their Doctor Who. Hardened space bitch, female sexy soldiers, gobbledygook technobabble, posing as ideas, lavacious descriptions of women, and an obsession with Doctor Who continuity. I do think that even straight, horny mid-teens in 2025 would find all of this a bit lame. I think he honestly set the bar really low. If this is like, I mean, I've heard him say, or I've at least heard it quoted, that he did an interview recently where he said, well, it's at least got to be better than this. Yeah? That means he deliberately set out to write something shit so people would write better books than that. I don't buy it for a second. I don't buy it. I just don't think he's a very good writer. And I've read Asylum from the BBC Past Doctor range, and I'll tell you what, it is just as bad as this. So some editors just shouldn't write books, and I think Darvill-Evans is one of them. Yeah, I think this is one of the weakest.
Mm-hmm. It is from that structural side of a book. I mean, I get why an editor might want to do this. You know, experiment to see how your guidelines are set, how that then works for your range. You don't need to publish it. You can just do it as an experiment for yourself to see if it works. Pass that to some pals, whatever, and see what they think. You don't need to unleash it upon the masses to see that, and also for all those writers incoming to think that is some form of a template to aspire to in some way. That's, I think, my biggest issue with it, is it being a template rather than some sort of curio for him to have experimented upon. And, you know, us finding maybe 20 odd years later as a thing that he had in the drawer as his sort of way to test out the rules. I would have been probably more complimentary if that was the case and it was released in, I don't know.
Yeah. A missing new adventure. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Interestingly, the next book you're going to do is this again, but done really, really well. A big science fiction epic that wants to develop the regulars, that wants to surprise you with the development of the regulars. It's very butch, it's full of soldiers and things like this was, but just really skillfully written. So maybe that should have had the guidelines at the end. This is the baseline of what you should be writing.
Yeah, true. Now, we did get some comments from some listeners about this book as well, and I think we might touch upon the ones we got on Blue Sky first, which I think I've got. Alasdair?
Yeah, I've got them. Right, so first up we have Luke Sims Jenkins. The guidelines at the back are the best part of the book and the most interesting. Yeah, I did enjoy them. Then we've got Hector Keaton. As someone who has read this for the first time recently, it's very interesting what Darvill-Evans can do with the knowledge from editing the range. Also, it's a great book with an interesting setup. However, the villain is mediocre. Annoyingly, I had Dak's return spoiled by the legal page.
Great book. Man, you need to broaden your range and stop reading Doctor Who books. There are great books out there, and it's not Deceit.
Well, do you know what this book has made me do? I have joined a local book club just to not read Doctor Who books. Like, this has pushed me to expand my horizons.
That was my job, to make you read good books.
Yeah, but there's better ones out there, even like beside the Doctor Who world too. So they say.
I refuse to believe it. I'm sorry.
And finally we have Alec Wilcox with the unexpected return of fan favourite, frighteningly aggressive and horribly beweaponed Dalek killer, Ace. Absalom Dark also appears. Ish. What is it with on-the-page companions being abruptly aged up? Sharon, Sam, and here in between, Space Ace. She's the most successful of the three. Ish. It's mostly functional, but there are some interesting bits. The shadow of the Daleks over the NEs and over future history makes them a more powerful a presence than some stories where they actually appear. Just as well, really. We get another first for Doctor Who after Love and War's first gay man, problematic, dead. Deceit's first lesbians, problematic, evil. Hooray! Ish. Many years later I saw an interview with PDE where he kept talking about the NA pool of authors. Pull, he kept repeating, until I realised where he got his monster from, and laughed like a drain.
Now, look, I know Alex Wilcox quite well, yeah? He's a lovely bloke, a fabulous naturist as well, you know. Oh, my word.
Indeed, he's coming on to the next episodes.
So well, Alex, you
his
don't need to wear clothes with this bunch, all right? They're quite happy for you to be naked. You know, he does typify, he won't mind me saying this, he does typify the sort of New Adventures fan that refuses to acknowledge that they put out any bullshit at all. I love winding up so much because, you know, read Deceit again, Alex Wilcox, all right? I mean, there aren't any interesting things happening in this book. But he's a great bloke.
Yeah. He is. I met him down in London at the BFI once, and he was a very, very nice man. And we'll hear him soon on next episode.
He gets the good book. I'll see what your priorities are.
He did ask for it, so I was like, do you know what?
Yeah, I bet he did. He didn't ask for this one then.
I don't think Mary did. And on that, Joe, did you have comments, I think, from Instagram?
Instagram, yes. The undoubtedly handsome and charismatic Guernsey Nick 69. Guernsey Nick? Why is that in your name? Oh, hang on. I'm going to rearrange the words. Peter Darvill-Evans. Wow, my God. No. Just started my reread. I remember virtually nothing from 30 years ago besides being okay. My wife remembers liking this quite a lot, though. Oh, bless her. Her standards have changed since then. He also says, okay, finished a reread and it was, well, okay. As the author admits in the afterword, there's a lot of plot. Is there? Guernsey Nick, are you sure? Or rather, a lot of stuff with not enough structure to really justify it. If this was well building for the series, then that would be one thing. But as I recall, it's not really. It passed the time, was perfectly readable. Okay. But at the end, you're left with a, is that it? I have the feeling that the next one is more of the same. No, Guernsey Nick 69, that's a banger.
Well, hopefully, because Guernsey Nick, he does like to comment in real time when reading it. It's quite a nice insight we get when Guernsey Nick kind of comments, so I will look forward to him in the next book changing that opinion perhaps in real time.
We want to know in the next comment, all right, why you put 69 in your handle, all right? Well, and if not, we'll get in touch with your wife, who seemed to think this book was good.
Well, what happens in Guernsey stays in Guernsey, from what I hear.
Is that right? Well, anyway, let's move on to Ian Christensen illustration. Oh, is he an illustrator?
Might well be.
Oh, let's check him out afterwards. He might be quite good. Halfway through, and I have some thoughts. Ideas are clearly stolen from all over, with sources including the TV series, the comics, the other novels, and the 1976 film Logan's Run. Though Benny started out as hysterical, some of that lovely dry wit is coming back. She didn't talk to anyone in Christensen illustration. Ace's return wasn't as annoying as I thought it would be, but I can't get invested in the Doctor's apology. It would be far, far more satisfying if he was in full control of his senses and genuinely admitted he was wrong. Anyway, on we go. Wish me luck. Good luck. Tell my family I love them. Yeah. You ain't seeing them again. Oh, he wrote another comment. Hang on. Have subsequently finished it, and I admit that maybe I was a tad optimistic about Benny. You was. It didn't go quite the way I wanted to. On the novel as a whole, though, I feel like the first 12 books, they set up the cliches to make a VNA, just so that this one can regurgitate them all. It's not bad as such, but not particularly fun either. I begin to wonder if it is a parody of the Virgin New Adventures, which might improve my feelings. God almighty. No, because you'll get to Head Games eventually. Yeah, that's another Steve Lyons book. And
Yes.
that is a parody of the New Adventures, and it's a brilliant one as well.
Oh, yes.
Mel takes one look at the Doctor and goes, "You're not the man I knew. Piss off," and leaves him.
Yeah. Is that the one with the cover with the Doctor and his big
The
gun?
machine gun. Yeah. Right, who have we got next? Justin Barnes. Justin, hello. Oh, hang on. Oh, Justin, you cut a fine figure in that suit, may I say. I thought it was great. He not only ran the Nan, but showed he could write one as well. What does that mean?
I think he means the New Adventure novels, and he's calling them the Nan, which actually I quite like.
Okay.
I might call them the Nan sometimes now.
Darvill-Evans ran the Nan. Okay. I don't know why I think he's American. Would love to have the book convention they had for all the book series a few years back here in the US. Oh, that's why I think he's American.
Yeah.
Because he is. Oh, I'll finish it in American. I saw the videos of him. New Who fans just don't get the struggle. Now, with the current series Future Unknown, these are the best way to get your Doctor Who, and many titles are unavailable and pricey.
Oh, my phone's ringing there. Hello? Oh, it's JNT. He's got a job offer for you, Joe, for the role of Pepper Gillian Brown.
Oh, great!
I think he really likes your American accent. I really think it can go places.
What did she say from the Twin Dilemma? I won't let a manic depressive paranoid personality like you shut me up. Okay. Matt Ackerston says, hang on, let's have a look at his picture. Oh my, you've got some pretty listeners, haven't you?
Thank you very much.
Okay. Matt Ackerson, send me your number, DM me. He says, I have fond memories of this one, and I enjoyed Abbas and Dak. Oh, I enjoyed that Abbas and Dak appeared, and that, oh, you made me read this one out, you bastard.
I didn't even mean this one.
I hate a compliment as well. By the way, Joe Ford is such a great podcaster. Always fantastic and fun to hear his insights on these books. You're suddenly far less attractive, Matt Ackerston, if I'm honest.
No.
Thank you very much. I do appreciate it. Oh, Gareth. Oh my God, Gareth. Hello. What's that on his shoulder? Look, zoom in.
I think it's like not a gerbil. What is that? I don't know. A white rat mouse thing.
If it's a ferret, Sylvester McCoy's got some tips of what you can do with it. Right. Gareth Rafferty says, it could ironically use an editor. Yes, far too long and woolly. Saying that, Peter Darvill-Evans was very regimental about the action, having the all-important bits happening almost exactly every 50 pages. It felt like every 100. It's a loud, action-y novel with a few ideas that seem sort of interesting, and some that are questionable. Thank you. I'm glad someone's mentioned it. A sort of Stockholm Syndrome relationship between two female characters creeped me out when I read it. I wish the Doctor and Bernice had spent more time together before Ace came back. I don't hate new Ace. Well, nobody's perfect, Gareth. At least she stops calling everybody toe rag. But in hindsight, it's mad that they didn't just let her go stick with Benny.
Yeah, that's very true. And I think Gareth's right about every 50 pages, because the chapters were long. Like, there's very few chapters.
Chapter, don't you? Like a chapter that's only like 10 pages or something.
Exactly. It's something for you to look forward to. But you don't quite get that within this, because I think it literally is every 50 pages or so you do get to that point, but it's a struggle. Anyway.
Okay. Dave Kitchen.
Oh no, I'll be myself. I'll do
this.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Let me just have a look at his picture though before you say the comment. He's sort of in silhouette walking down the road.
It's David Kitchen from the Doctor Who show.
There's only one thing you can tell from that picture. The road is long. Sorry, okay, go on. Sorry.
That's what we feel with this series. The road is long. Anyway, on Twitter we had Mester the Magnificent say, it's over 3 years now since I last read it. I remember thinking it was a strong entry that, ironically, given it was written by the Range editor, needed a really good edit. Certainly left a good impression overall.
Is that Mester the Magnificent, did you say?
Yes. Yes.
How nice of you, Emperor of Jaconda, to come and visit and leave a message. But he's evil, so don't trust his opinion, all right? Have you seen those embolisms that he does? Turns people green and makes them scream and land in a load of vegetables.
Yeah. And he dares to have opinions about Virgin New Adventures as if it's coming from a place of higher performances. But anyway. And we do indeed have Dave Kitchen next, who says, I would have been just 13 when I read that, and although not an instant classic, I did enjoy it as a strong space adventure. Looking back now, it does feel very 1990s and overly full of new adventure tropes and cliches, no doubt reflecting Peter Darvill-Evans' editorial views. I feel that Ace's return here works and sets up an interesting concept to explore. It's not Deceit's fault that the variation is quality of the writing of Turbo Ace, as local fans called her at the time, lurched from amazing to abysmal over the coming books. The use of Dak appearing around the same time in DWM's classic Emperor of the Daleks comic meant that it felt like one big Doctor Who universe, something which meant a lot to me as a 13-year-old in the wilderness years. I'll also give Peter Darvill-Evans, he's Ped, which...
Oh, no. That's the one thing we can't accuse him of on this.
No,
show.
this is a slip that we cannot legally allow to happen.
Dave Kitchen, would you be careful, please?
Please use the correct accent. It's PDE we're going to be using here. I will also give PDE's big praise for being the first showrunner since Let's to really have a thought-out, cohesive sense of Earth's future history, which again appealed to me as a serious 13-year-old. So overall, Deceit is not a classic, but a decent middle-of-the-road new adventure.
So now we've identified exactly the sort of 13-year-old that loves this kinky shit. Dave Kitchen. Okay. We know who they're aiming these new adventures at now. All right. The kinks of Dave Kitchen. Right.
Yes. I don't think... Yeah. I don't know if it's a wide market to aim at. Is Dave Kitchen? I don't know how many thousands of copies he bought over in Australia, but
we've got some erotic fiction we can recommend to you if you like this. All right.
Yeah. I'm sure that really sold him, and his socks were off for that. Finally,
oh my god!
Finally, our comments.
Did you ever have that? Is that what you were talking about? You know, the crusty socks. Oh man!
Oh, no. I meant rock the socks, but just accidentally.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I went down.
Will you move us on quick? I'm teaching Alasdair tricks here.
And finally, on our comment, can I get a big orange?
Orange.
Michael. Big Orange Michael says, this is a cover designed for readers with e-readers. I recall taking it with me and reading it while out in the world and getting distinctly odd glances. Which, yeah, you would. I was covering mine up when reading it out in the pub in the park with my bookmarker, so that, yeah, it didn't look a bit
odd. I want to cast aspersions on the Scottish accent, but did you say out in the world or out in the wild? Because they both sound very similar in your brogue.
Out in the wild.
Oh, in the wild. Oh, okay.
Yes.
Which wild, Big Orange Michael?
No, that was me. I was out in the wild reading this, and as was... Oh, no, sorry. Oh, you mean the comment? It's what actual Big Orange Michael said. He did say out in the world.
World? He
said world, yes.
Will you say world and wild next to each other, please?
World, wild.
Yeah, sounds the same to me. Alasdair, will you do the same, please?
Yeah. Wild.
Oh, now listen to your co-host, all right? He's much clearer.
Yeah. Not a surprise.
I just had the same. I just had wild twice.
I'm just being silly now.
Is that Renfrewshire accent I can't distinguish?
I'm from Crawley. You're going to get world and wild from me. So, yeah.
Now, to be fair, that was wild twice. It's wild and world.
Well, I think all of this has been a world trip around the Doctor Who world for us tonight. But it leads me to say a big thank you to Joel Ford for joining us, and also a big congratulations on reaching 1,000 episodes for the Hamster Ham Fam.
Yeah, I've shut the door now. I ain't doing any more now. Thousands enough. Done. All the ones that are pre-recorded, I'm sorry, they ain't going out.
Well, you've already hit more than the show ever will now, since we're not going to get any more. So
You've got to shut up at some point, don't you think?
Nah. What was the line at the end of Survival? Yeah, there's books unread.
There are worlds out there where Ace is being groped, where Absalom is non-consensually decapitating androids,
Where lesbians sneak off at the end of the book as some form of punishment for each other.
and AI intelligence are jettisoned in TARDIS Zero Room. So come on, Ace, we've got work to do.
Yeah. Cannot wait. Cannot wait. But either way, thank you very much again, Joe, for coming on, and indeed for all the work that you've done over in the hamster world. Wild.
Thank
Because
you for your
it is a
patience
big...
tonight. I do appreciate it.
No, it's been great to have you, and I'm sure we'll be having you again very soon. Well, for a good book. We have to wait a while.
This PED prose is getting to all of us, isn't it?
I know. And
if this episode don't cancel us, nothing will.
Yeah, please don't sue me, Peter Darvill-Evans, for bringing up your 1990s.
He wrote the fucking thing.
Exotic.
Don't put an afterward. It's from his own mouth, literally. Yeah, exactly. So, on that cheery note, thank you, Alasdair, as always, for joining us as well.
Always a pleasure, Anthony.
And I'm sure we'll hear from you and Peter Darvill-Evans' lawyers very soon. Thanks for listening to another episode of Too Broad and Too Deep. You can get in touch with us on social media at Too Broad Too Deep Pod, that's with the number 2, on Blue Sky, Twitter and Instagram. You can also contact our Facebook page, Doctor Who, Too Broad and Too Deep Podcast, and that's with the word 2. Or you can email us at toobroadtoodeeppod@gmail.com, and that's also with the word TOO. Hope to hear from you soon.
I'll just add one last thing. Yeah.
Sure.
Just one thing, yeah. You don't know what I'm talking about here, but Alasdair, who's remained kink-free in this call, yeah. We learn intriguing things that he does with sellotape before we started the episode. I'm just going to leave it there to your imaginations, okay?
Curious and terrified in equal measure.
Wasn't your microphone sellotape to the wall?
I did say that, didn't I? Yes.
You did, yeah. Although, I don't think you should put that in. Just save the bit where I say, I'll leave it to your imaginations, and then everyone will be thinking,
Yeah.
what does Alasdair do with sellotape? My God.
I'm sure we'll get a message from Peter Darvill-Evans asking what he does.
I'm going to put it in my next book.
Coming soon by Esme Umbro.